Hello, my lovelies. So yes, I am back here, and I have been considering the Ogham, pronounced Ogham, but I will use both ways of pronouncing it, so you don't get confused because it is spelled Ogham, which in our sort of English we would then phonetically pronounce it Ogham, but of course the pronunciation in Gaelic is Ogham, and I've got me trusted notebook here. And it's something that's been sort of playing on my mind for a bit. I make Ogham sets, and I do use them occasionally because I've been building up my study, my learning of it for, well, definitely a few years now. So I've got, first of all, to show you my trusted little notebook, aka Book of Shadows. So what I started up doing is just writing out the information of it, the shape itself, what it represents, and other little things. So I'm not going to start out by introducing the Ogham just yet, because of course with any system that is new we want to look at the history of it. Now the other thing I've been considering, and I can't remember if I've actually mentioned it or not before, is kind of looking at the year from a more older perspective, a slightly different perspective to our very well known Gregorian calendar, so, looking at the Sabbats and the dates of the Sabbats and stuff. So, been looking at the Celtic calendar, or the often known as the tree calendar, which follows the lunar cycle. So there's 13 months in the year. So what I want to do is sort of start off by kind of looking at them together, because each Celtic month is represented by a tree, and having just done a bit of research, they seem to fit with the order, if not a couple switched around, of the Ogham. So they are connected in a certain way. So what I want to do is go on a journey in seeing just how connected they are, and whether or not it has been like a forced connection, or whether it actually feels like the right sort of way of doing it. I don't like to say right is probably the word for it, because I don't want to say it's right or it's wrong, because as always, it's your journey, it's your connection that really matters. So when I say right, I'm talking about right for me, what sort of feels right for me. And then at some point I will go through making an Ogham set with you, just like I did with the runes. Starting with looking at the Ogham versus the Celtic calendar. So the origins of them: the Ogham originated in Ireland and the UK in general, but the archaeological finds were found in southeast or southwest Ireland. I can't remember, didn't write it down. You should write things like that down. Where several sort of stones, markers, gravestones have all been found with Ogham staves on them. And they were found at the very earliest in the 4th century, but were mostly around the 5th to 7th century Common Era, or AD, Annus Domini, whichever one you want to look at. Whereas the Celtic calendar was found initially in Colony, France, who were of course Gaelic, and so in this country we've got kind of a combo between the Celts and the Gauls. So the Gaelic kind of language originated from France. The sort of Celtic way of life originated in sort of Eastern Europe. So it's quite a nice sort of combination. But anyway, so a tablet was found in the 2nd century, which is broken. So of course a lot of it had to be kind of filled in. Both of these things, the system of the Ogham and the Celtic calendar, they arose during Roman rule. Okay, so it would appear that the writing that Romans used and the calendar that they followed had some influence on our early people. Okay, so even though the Ogham is technically Gaelic, from what I was reading, it's considered to have come from the Romans, because it's linguistically closer to Latin. And of course, the colony calendar tablet was written in Latin. Neither have a very clear-cut history, so a lot of gaps have been filled in, and I'll get onto that in a later video. So, of course, the power that they've gained, and I believe, much like the runes, it was the elites that used the writing system, that carved things, the druids, etc. So they gained a certain mysticism amongst us common folk, which is where they sort of built up their power and are used in divination today. And so I feel that unlike the runes, there is more kind of room for your own interpretation, and less sort of issue in applying it to your practice. But just like with everything, you've got to respect the history. So it's good to get a clear understanding of where it came from and what it meant. Why trees, basically? Why those trees? And they're not all trees anyway. So, yes, the calendar is based on the agricultural year and the lunar cycle. And the Ogham is a writing system of letters, and that are named after native trees. And better, or more better considered name for the alphabet is, if I can just find it, excuse me, I might have to come back to that. There we go. Baith Lewis Nin. So I have more than likely pronounced that wrong. Baith being the first letter. Lewin, just going to quick flick through, see where Lewin comes in. I'm going to have to find out what Lewin, no, Lewis. Okay, so Beith, Lewis, Nin, excuse me. Beith being the first letter, Lewis being the second, Nin being the word for letters. So it's much like how the word alphabet came about, alpha, beta, the first two letters of the alphabet. So I think that's quite interesting and shows again that similarity with Roman culture, which is heavily influenced the UK. So I'll look a bit deeper, see if there's anything else I feel you need to know about that. But meanwhile, I am going to move on to some other aspects of it that I think are going to be useful. So starting with the Ogham calendar, the Celtic calendar itself. And then in my next video, I'm going to talk about our native trees in Britain. And so the Ogham calendar, a bit of a mixture. It could start this month, but often starts next month, depending on whether you celebrate Samhain as the end of the year or the new year, or follow the Gregorian calendar. But the way it's been written down in most sources that I've found, starts December 24th. It's interesting. It's Christmas Eve, with the Birch, December 24th to January 20th. So bearing in mind, this is the 28-day lunar cycle. Then Rowan, January 21st to February 17th. Ash, February 18th to March 17th. Alder, March 18th to April 14th. Willow, April 15th to May 12th. Hawthorn, May 13th to June 9th. Oak, June 10th to July the 7th. That's where we get the oak with the summer solstice, of course. Holly, July 8th to August 4th. The oak and holly king. I don't know if you remember me talking about that. Anyway, hazel, August 5th to September the 1st. Vine, September 2nd to September 29th. That's me, I'm Vine. Ivy, September 30th to October 27th. Reed, October 28th to November 23rd. And Elder, which is this month, November 24th to December the 23rd. Now, let me go through with you the order of the Ogham, and that'll be the end of this video, just so you can see that there is some similarity. So, starting with number 1. 1, Birch. 2, Rowan. 3, Alder. 4, Willow. 5, Ash. 6, Hawthorn. 7, Oak. 8, Holly. 9, Hazel. 10, Apple. Missing from the calendar because apples are non-native. I didn't know that till I researched it. Anyway, 11, Vine. 12, Ivy. 13, Reed. 14, Blackthorn. 15, Elder. Then 16, Fir or White Fir. 17, Gorse. 18, Heather. 19, the Poplar or the Aspen. And 20, the Yew. Interestingly enough, I wonder why they didn't have yew in the calendar. I have a theory. I'll tell you later. Nearly at me 10 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed that. And moving on to the next one. As usual, let me know any comments, anything you already know about it, because I always want to add it to my own research. So thank you for joining me.